Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest episode of Real Take Real Estate with the Joseph team, where we give you our real take on today's housing market and everything to do with real estate. I'm your host, Maddie Maloney, joined by my co-hosts,
Joe Sambear
and Sam Feda.
So today we are going to go over a topic that we've really had a lot of inquiries about lately, and it's the unique opportunity of being able to own a duplex. So with owning a duplex, what we're seeing a lot is people wanting for their first home to buy a duplex, live in one part of it, and then rent out the other. So we're going to go over some of the pros and cons, why this is a great opportunity, especially for someone that may want to get into real estate investing. And then also kind of go over some of the things that we like to make sure our buyers are aware of when going into a duplex, because although it is a great opportunity, it's not always going to be the best fit for everyone. So we're really going to go into how this is attainable, the loan product that you can get to get into this, that it is affordable, and some of the pros and cons. So Sam, I want to start off with you. I think you are really well versed in this area. So can you start off about, when people want to look into buying a duplex, how do you kind of start off this conversation?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we do get a good amount of inquiries because a lot of people think it's a good place to start if they have interest in owning investment properties and real estate in the future. So that is a great stepping stone for a first-time home buyer to, be able to have the benefit of income coming in from the other side of their home to offset some of their monthly mortgage payment, while building equity in all of that. So there are great options out there for lower down payments as well to purchase these duplexes or, a 1 to 4 unit. It just kind of all depends on the buyer's situation and what they can afford and really, how much do they know about being a landlord? That's one big thing too, that everyone can think it's, super easy to, we'll just live in one side, rent the other side out. But are you prepared to fix the other side if there's an issue? Are you prepared to deal with tenants? Do you know how to structure the lease agreement? Do you have people in place to do those fixes and all of that? So it's really not as easy as just jumping in and woohoo, I get the extra rental income.
Yes.
You want to be prepared for everything that can go along with it.
So let's first talk about, the financing part of it. Because I think that some people have this misconception of when you buy a duplex, is it going to be an investment property then? Because I'm renting out half of it. Does that mean I have to put a lot more down in order to afford this property? But that's not really the case.
No, that's not always the case. Fannie Mae recently came out with as little as 5% down option for a duplex, whereas it used to be 15% if it was going to be owner occupied. So now there's a conventional loan option to do as little as 5%, and FHA has an option with 3.5% down as well. So there's a couple different lower down payment options, to be able to get in the duplex. And, again, just wanted to make sure that.
And that's what seems to be, one, people are looking at investment properties now just because there seems to be opportunities. And they think the rental income and the rental market's solid. That's one. And two, the spur of activity right now is because they realize like, oh, whoa, that's a big difference. 10% on a home purchase, especially a new home.
Oh yeah.
Or for a first time home buyer, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
And so now they're starting to see, oh wow, this might be a really interesting opportunity to get my foot in the door with not only as my primary, but a little bit more stabilized, knowing that okay, I can get some offsetting income to help me with my payment.
Exactly, because if it's your primary residence, that's when you can really, capitalize on those low down payment options. Because if it's solely an investment property, multi-unit's going to be 25% down all day long with any option. It's really, if you do actually plan to live in one of the units, you can have the benefit of the rental income offsetting that monthly payment.
Definitely. So that's one of the big benefits, is having that monthly income to offset. But maybe not even to offset, you can use that monthly income then to maybe fix up the side that you're living in. And then maybe, if the other tenant moves out, you switch over, live on the other side, fix that one up. But it's a great opportunity to know, you don't have to wait forever. If you buy an investment property, having that time where you have to wait to fix it up before you can get a tenant, you kind of do it while living there.
Stages, yeah.
Yes. But again, you know, you got to be prepared to be able to live maybe in a construction site for a little bit if you're going to be making major renovations to a duplex. So,
and there is some tax advantages too. There's a whole set of tax rules, in particular regards to rental properties, where you can offset. There's depreciation that you can take advantage of. There's some expenses, maintenance, those kind of things can offset some of the rental income that you have to obviously disclose that you've received that rental income. But there's also a real estate tax advantage, which a lot of people don't talk about. But when the home is split between a primary and investment property, usually in most places you get the homestead exemption on half of the purchase price or half the value of the house. So there is some nice real estate tax advantages, and you know, it opens up a whole schedule on your income tax returns where you can take advantage of and use that depreciation. And there's some huge advantages to that.
Yeah, it can help, you know, not to give tax advice or anything, but help to reduce your overall annual income and reduce the taxes you pay. You can have benefits that way as well.
Definitely. Some great benefits there. And then also, if you're looking to become a true real estate investor, maybe own some more properties or get into property management, this is a great opportunity where it does give you some of that experience. So you kind of can get your feet wet in the real estate investing world, managing a duplex. You know, you get hands-on experience, which just helps you along the road and know what problems you're going to come across and just kind of how to deal with a tenant as well. I think that's something that, you know, when you get into real estate investing, you don't always think about. You're like, okay, you know, I'm just going to have buy these properties. I'm going to get this rent. You can just kind of think about the numbers. You don't think about the communication, the people aspect of that. And that's a huge part of whether or not you're going to be a successful real estate investor, a successful landlord. It just really helps you, you know, kind of see if this is something that you're going to really like and enjoy.
The other thing about the 2-unit, when you go, if there is going to be a resale or you're going to sell in the future to an investor, real estate investors really like 2 units or multi-units, because the fixed costs of mowing the lawn, the turning on the sprinkler system, plowing, all those things are, you know, you're getting 2 units to offset some of those fixed costs of that 1 unit. So it can be very attractive to real estate investors as well, the 2 units or multi-units.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then one other thing too, if you know, your goal is to be an investor in the future and moving in on one side and renting the other out, you can in the future use that rental income if you have a year of experience being a landlord and your future goal is to own more investment properties and use that. You can use that income you're receiving from the one side when you have that experience to show more qualifying income to be able to afford more in the future. So you can actually use that as secondary income basically to qualify you for future loans.
Definitely. So all of these reasons show that owning a duplex and living on the side of it, this could be a great stepping stone into really getting into the real estate investing world. So those are all the benefits. Now, let's go into some of the cons that maybe some people don't really think about when getting into a duplex, because it really has to be the right fit for you. It's not going to work for everyone. So going off of the first one, kind of what we talked about, the people aspect is, you know, when living with someone right next to you, you do have the risk of problematic tenants. You know, you can do as much vetting as you want, try to really minimize, you know, who's gonna, any problems that you're gonna have there, but you don't always really know until they're living next to you what you've really gotten yourself into. So there's always gonna be a risk there of renting to difficult tenants who may cause damage to the property, fail to pay rent on time. Now you got to be the bad guy to come over there. Maybe that's not really what you wanted to get into. So you do have that risk there.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really, you know, if you can't see yourself essentially looking at it as a worst case scenario, because that's what I like to do with most things I make big decisions on. If you can't see yourself evicting someone and their family from your home, are you truly ready to be a landlord? Because, you know, you can do all your vetting up front, but life happens. Your tenant, you know, may experience a job loss or something along those lines to where they're unable to, you know, afford the payment anymore. How long are you going to allow them to stay in the home without paying rent, and you may be, forced to make a difficult decision as a landlord that, you really have to be prepared for up front, is dealing with people, because you don't want to pay their rent,
to protect your investment.
You have to protect your investment.
Definitely. And that kind of leads into the next problem, kind of the opposite, is then having a vacancy risk. Right. Maybe the tenant, something happened, they got to up and leave. Now you're left with the full mortgage payment, not now having that supplemental income to kind of help pay it. If you were only going to be able to make this payment work, knowing that you have that rental income, maybe it's not going to be the best choice. You have to have a stable emergency fund for this vacancy, and know that it may be a probability that at some point you are going to have a vacancy that you're going to have to cover for.
No, it makes sense. It's again, making sure you have some reserves, some cash flow, proper planning, but we've seen people do this over the years and been very successful with it. So
Definitely.
More good stories than bad stories.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
We just like to bring up the cons just to make you aware, but that's just because, we want to help you think about worst case and really make sure that you are prepared for this so that you are successful in going into this. And so then that brings another, con just to think about is you are going to be living close to some other tenants. So maybe when you thought about being a homeowner, you were really excited to get out of the apartment life, to get out of your complex, that you have your own space. Well, it's not really going to be fully your space. You are going to have to share, a wall, maybe they're on the lower floor or upper floor. You are going to be living in close quarters to your tenant. So sometimes that can be great. If you got a great couple in there, you got some great tenants in there, maybe they can be friends, but also, maybe it's not going to be so great, but you won't really be able to escape it because they're living in the other side. So, making sure that you set some boundaries up front with these tenants. Maybe it's not going to be the best idea to become BFFs with these people when you're also their landlord. So setting some boundaries up front, making sure that, you have the privacy that you wanted and that it's not going to hinder, any of your concerns or anything like that. So just making sure that you have thought this through and make sure that you're going to be okay with sharing your space with, these tenants. And then the next part of, being a landowner now, there is going to be maintenance. There is going to be some requests that you're going to have to help and figure out a solution for. Maybe even if it is in the middle of the night and a pipe bursts or something, and, you got to be the one that's going to fix this problem now. It's going to be on you. So are you ready to take on the responsibility? Do you have the contacts and the referrals in order to help you be a successful landlord?
And I would say that's one of the keys. It's not even obviously the financial aspect of it, but even knowing who do I call and making sure. This is where I think it's really helpful to have a mentor, someone else that might be a landlord that you can rely on and call and have some opportunities to share information of, okay, here's an electrician, here's a plumber, here's a drain person, here's, you have 4 or 5 of those people, and it's much easier to manage that process.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah, you want to make sure you have all your reserves too, the financial aspect, because there are going to be things that
it's going to come up,
go wrong. There are going to be expenses because naturally, when you have a renter, they're not going to treat it as their own product. There may be things that need to be updated and fixed, but having those people to be able to help you repair and do all those different things is
and also key is making sure you know the local area ordinances with rental licensing. Make sure you understand what you're getting into. What does the local township or city require for rentals? Making sure you understand the fee, the cost, how long, the permitting process. It's pretty critical too.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're going over all of this not to tell you that owning a duplex is going to be a bad choice. We think that it is a great choice and can be really beneficial when breaking into real estate investing. It's just making sure that you have a plan, you have it well thought through, so that you're ready for this and you're ready for the worst case scenario, as Sam said. Always prepare for that worst case scenario. Maybe it does go great. You have great tenants, maybe not minimal things go wrong on the property, but knowing that you have everything set up, if everything were to go wrong, That's going to give you some reassurance and really just make you feel better about it, and also help set you up for when you do want to buy that next property, making sure that you are successful with that as well. So, any last thoughts on Duplex?
No,
We think it's a great idea as long as this is going to fit your lifestyle. Owning a duplex has many benefits, just as owning a home has many benefits, but now you get that supplemental income. It can help you, get into the investing world, and it really is just a great opportunity. So if you are looking into buying a duplex or wanting to get the process started, do not hesitate to give us a shout and reach out to us. It can be attainable, as Sam mentioned earlier in the podcast, now as little as 5% conventional or 3.5% FHA. This is a great time to take an opportunity of this market and buy a duplex, get into real estate investing, and really, start up your successful home ownership journey. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us today on our episode of Real Take Real Estate with the Joseph team. If you like this episode, please don't hesitate to like, subscribe, send us a comment. If you want to hear any other topics or you have any follow-up questions, give us a call, shoot us an email. We are happy to talk with you about anything real estate. Thank you again. We hope to catch you on the next episode of Real Take Real Estate.